Hello again, students. How are you? I hope you are fine. I'm teacher Hanadi from the Al Farouk Academy. Open your student's book, page 18, please. Learn and think. Time zones. Listen, please.
1. Listen, read, and look at the map.
In the world, there are lots of different time zones. When it is 12 o'clock in London, in summer, it is 7 o'clock in the evening in Beijing.
But it is only 6 o'clock in the morning in Mexico City. What time is it in New York and Cairo? Okay, we have to know some meanings here. So, time zones mean المناطق الزمنية. Word العالم. Lots of الكثير من. Different مختلف. بجين بكين عاصمة الصين بكين. مكسيكو المكسيك. City مدينة and Cairo القاهرة. Again, let's read again. In the world, there are lots of different time zones. When it is 12 o'clock in London in summer, it is 7 o'clock in the evening in Beijing. But it is only 6 o'clock in the morning in Mexico City. What time is it in New York and Cairo? Time zones mean فرق الوقت بين منطقة وأخرى، اختلاف الوقت من مدينة أو دولة إلى دولة أخرى. We will see the difference of time between London and some cities, such as Beijing, Mexico, and New York. To explain that, let's take an example between Jordan and Saudi Arabia. When it is 7 o'clock in Saudi Arabia, it's 6 o'clock in Jordan. So, Saudi Arabia precedes Jordan about 1 hour. The difference of time between London and New York. The time in London precedes the time in New York about 4 hours. توقيت لندن يسبق توقيت نيويورك بمقدار 4 ساعات. The time in Cairo precedes the time in London about 2 hours. For example, when the time in Cairo is 5 in the morning, the time in London is 3 in the morning. توقيت القاهرة يسبق توقيت لندن بمقدار ساعتين. The time in London precedes the time in Mexico about 6 hours. The time in London precedes the time in Mexico about 6 hours. توقيت لندن يسبق توقيت المكسيك تقريبا 6 ساعات. The time in Beijing precedes the time in London about 8 hours. 8 hours. الوقت في بكين يسبق الوقت في لندن تقريبا 8. Okay, here we are going to talk about the concept that times are different in different parts of the world. So, we see here a map. Map means خريطة, map, and there are some cities here, such as New York, Mexico City, London, Cairo, and Beijing. Okay, you will notice here that the time is not similar in all cities. It is different from one city to another. We will answer the questions here and we will notice that 2. Think, read and complete. 1. When it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon in London, it is 8 o'clock in the morning in New York. When it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon in London, it is 8 o'clock in the morning in New York. 2. When it is 11 o'clock in the morning in London, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Cairo. 3. When it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon in London, it is 9 o'clock in the evening in Beijing. 4. When it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon in London, it is 10 o'clock in the morning in Mexico City. So, the time is very different from one city to another. Okay, students, if you have any question, please ask me later. Thank you. Goodbye.